What is up, everybody? It's Rev time. This one's going to be a little rambling, but you guys are like, yeah, what else is new, dingus? You know, I kind of, on the last video I did, I tried to give you guys an idea of kind of how my mind works. Even though it wasn't this intricate lesson, it's like I don't know how to do that. But it got me thinking, I think what's way more important, in my humble opinion, you guys let me know what you think, is how you hear. How do you think melodically? Where does your ear tell you to go? And I guess there's ways to learn that. I've always done it through just simply listening, a lot of listening. But it also became muscle memory based on something that wasn't like a discipline. You know, it was just, well, no, I was just listening all the time. So in this case, that's like what I just played at the top was something I just tried. And I started with a chord that's, would be considered kind of outside, but honestly, it's not. It's actually really beautiful. I guess it would be a D dominant 7, like sharp 5. So just think of it as, everybody knows this one. All you do is move that 5th up a half step. There's your sharp 5. And now you've got this really cool sounding, kind of what would be considered, I guess, an altered chord. But the reason I'm starting with that chord is, okay, if I start with that chord, where does it want to go? So I'm trying to remain melodic. It's like, okay, what's at the top of this chord? That F sharp, which would be the 3rd of that chord. Where does it want to go? To me, it can either go up or it can go down. And the way I first heard it was really, I almost kind of Beatles-esque, but for me, I heard. So that's a pretty big interval, But it's really pretty, So I just went basically from a 5 chord to a 1 chord, simple G. So it's the exact same as if I went. But I just used altered, I call them stuff chords. There's stuff in them. But, I just used this kind of sharp 5 dominant 7 to go to the 1 chord. Okay, so now I've established my key center. My key center is G major. So if I want to repeat that, it's a phrase now to me. So the first time I do it, the second time I do it, I want to do something a little different. I'm still resolving to that D, or the G chord, but to a D instead of a B. So the first time, what I heard in my head was. Second time. So it's phrasing and melody. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make is you can learn scales and things like that, but also just be intuitive and musical and just listen to where, I know it's all, it's silly to say follow your heart, but that's kind of what it is. So, I could have gone, but the main thing is just changing it up that second time. So. And then for me, it's like, well, I could keep repeating that or stay in the key center, but maybe just try anything. And that's what I did. I was just kind of improvising. So I did the. I just grabbed this chord, which is, it's really I guess it's a B flat 6, 9. Yeah, those are the intervals. B flat, G is a 6, C is a 9, and then there's a 5 on top. But for me, it was like, okay, well, follow that. Now you just grab that chord. It doesn't sound bad, but where's it want to go? So I was almost following the same concept. So I basically just did this. You know, without altering chords. In this case, but now I want to get back home. So I know the first chord I played was the 5 chord, and I know this is kind of advanced, but once again, it's not advanced. From the concept of just listen, it's like, okay, well, I want to get back to that key center of G again. So I ended up, you know, this chord's provocative. I want to get back to G. The 5 chord would be, which sounds fine. If I want to get a little bit more fancy, put that F sharp in the bass. There's your voice leading in the bass. And gosh, I'm not trying to like make this some sort of advanced harmonic voice leading thing. It's like, man, Jacob Collier and Rick Beato, look up those cats. The point I'm trying to make is use your ear. Think of where that melody wants to go. And then even if it's just randomly stacking things underneath it until you find something you like, then stick with it. Don't give up. I remember I was at a woodshed thing, the thing that Andy Wood does, and a guy named Andy Timmons. I sat through one of his master classes, and he's absolutely brilliant. But he essentially did the same thing. He just started with something and then just kept going to see where it would end up. And, you know, it kind of pivots into what was happening with the boys on the live stream when they wrote that song together. It's like, okay, songwriting is hard, but if you start somewhere, that's what you have to do. Start with the chord. It might be a, you know, it might be a whatever it is, you know, even that, it's like, oh, well, I think it wants to go here. But just sticking with the, well, what's the melody? And then just try things underneath it. So once again, you know, I started with this altered, what I call a 5 chord, but an altered D dominant 7 sharp 5. Where does it want to go? Here. Very kind of beatly. Where does it want to go if I want to repeat it? Same chords, just changed the melody, so it would be a little bit different. But now I want it to go someplace else, so I grabbed this B flat 6/9 thing. And then I just added a movement. And then I wanted to get home. Back to that D chord, straight ahead. So now I've changed keys again, but I just grabbed a different chord. Okay, where does this want to go? Without going into the weeds, I ended up here. I probably want to go back to F now. 5 chord. And I know this is not a lesson. It's not. It's just me kind of giving you an example of how my ear would work based on just chasing a melody and not being afraid to just try things under it until I get where I want to go. I guess the one thing I can say you should understand is the 5 chord to the 1 chord. 9 times out of 10, you can change keys, but if you want to get back to the original key, unless you really got into the weeds, always remember the 5 chord. So in this case, the 5 chord in the key of G is going to be D. So in the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D, G. Okay, I know this is crazy. I hope I haven't confused you. I was just thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? I should maybe at least try to explain listening to melodies, because that applies to how you solo. It applies to, it's just music, you know? And once you really start thinking that way, then, you know, bingo, bongo, Dua Lipa, longo, you'll start actually, you know, making music. I think, you know, it's you should always study everything you want to study. But at the end of the day, just listen to the melody. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I loved all your comments and input on the last video. I'd love to hear what you think of this idea and how you guys learn. Okay. Thanks so much again. See you on the next one.